Hi there, I'm Tasha.
And I'm Fallon.
And together, we're the hosts of No Roadmap with Tasha and Fallon.
It's a podcast where two black women have real, random talks.
We cover everything from hobbies to relationships, pop culture, and social issues.
We don't shy away from the tough conversations, but we also like to have fun and be ourselves.
So join us every other Thursday as we share our thoughts, stories, and experiences.
You never know where the conversation might take us, but we promise it'll be worth it.
No roadmap, just real random talk.
So what do you say, Tasha? Are you ready to hit record and get started?
Let's do it, Fallon. Let's give the people what they want. Hello, and welcome to another episode of No Roadmap with Tasha and Fallon. I'm Tasha.
I'm Fallon.
Girl, it's been a minute.
I know, I missed you.
How you feeling?
I'm exhausted. How about you?
Same. So glad that I'm here.
Right.
Today, slightly awake. Anywho, it's been a minute since we've gotten together and we've been trying to toss around some topic ideas. And this one stuck out.
I liked it.
Separating the artist from the art.
Yes.
People who do bad things but give us great creativity.
Right.
How do you separate them? Do you separate them?
Ooh. Personally?
It
depends on the art.
Okay.
And it depends on the artist. Most recently, I think my issue was with J.K. Rowling.
Oh, let's talk about that. Can you give me a little bit more insight? Because I've seen like bits and pieces here and there about this is the transgender.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's most of it.
Okay.
So, in previous years, it had been that the Harry Potter series is overwhelmingly white.
Okay.
Like, there were, like, a couple of characters of color thrown in for flavor, but really, they didn't matter to the whole realm. Which, in fantasy overall, is the prevailing wind. You know, if you're reading fantasy, you're reading mostly white authors writing about mostly white people.
Right.
Then people would go in and start reading and doing like little deep dive and go, wow, that's pretty insensitive. I think there was a comment about one black character's hair that people were really upset about. I don't remember that one, but if I get the note from our producer to look it up, I'll put it in the show notes.
Do you know what movie the
No, it's one of the books.
Oh, like a description of what she had written.
Right.
Oh, okay. I read the books. I don't remember anything really.
But like I read the books 20 years ago?
Well, I read the books like I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. Maybe right before the last Deathly Hallows.
Okay.
I read the books.
All right. So that was a thing, and then Cho Chang, Harry's love interest for 5 seconds. It came up in our thread that's not even she was so lazy in naming her that she just threw together 2 Chinese names that were last names, threw them together to give the girl. Like didn't even do the work to give her a proper name. And so there was an uproar about that. Then Ms. Rawlings decided to open her mouth about trans women and like vocally, say that they weren't really women and, just being very mean and like, especially on Twitter, she would say these things. If that's your opinion, bless you. But keep it to yourself so I can enjoy your art.
Right.
And so it came to my point, I was ready to get Harry Potter tattoos.
Oh my.
Like I was in it. I'm still
Potterhead, huh?
Right. I will still read the books. I'll still watch the movies. I'm not getting a tattoo. Okay. I can't support that way. Okay. And then, she came out with that book series under the pen name Robert Galbraith.
You're so well read. I don't know these things.
Cormoran Strike is a private eye, and the books are stellar. But I can't stand that she wrote them.
Oh, no. How did you find out that she was...
Because someone leaked it. It's really J.K. Rowling. And I'm like, these books are so fantastic. And then she had this one book that was specifically problematic about, I don't know, spoilers maybe?
If you're a J.K. Rowling fan and you're reading her books, you might want to...
jump 30 seconds.
Yeah.
that one of the killer was a cross-dressing male, like saying that basically trans women don't exist. It's just a man in drag.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that her stance on trans women?
Yes.
Okay.
I think
more or less.
More or less.
I'm gonna have to do some research on
yes.
that. I know there's something around it. I've been reading some of the murmurs.
Right.
About the trans community not being happy with her. I have not done my due diligence to dive into figuring out why that is, but I do know that the strife exists.
Right. And so that is, and it makes me feel like less of an ally because I'm still consuming the art. Mm-hmm. But the art is so good to me, and I just wish that the person had kept their mouth shut.
Yeah.
So that I could just enjoy. Because if you have, sometimes your opinion doesn't need to be spoken out loud.
Right.
You just leave it.
Leave it where it is. Leave it in your inner circle.
Right. So I apologize to anyone who's offended that I still consume the art. But this is a situation where...
So this is where we have this struggle, right?
Right.
Do you separate the artist from the art? I feel the same way about R. Kelly.
Ooh, let's get on your stance and let me get on my stance. Let's do that. I'm going to drink my coffee while you speak.
The mere thought of R. Kelly, the man, and this is my personal opinion. I hope I'm not about to J.K. Rowling myself. But, this is my personal opinion on it. I am a mother of a daughter. And I'm a mother of a daughter who wants to be a performer. Mm-hmm. And watching... So, let's just go back to his interactions with Aaliyah when Aaliyah first came out.
Ooh.
How it never really quite sat right with me.
Right.
But I could never really put a finger on why until they were like, oh my God, did you hear that Aaliyah and R. Kelly got married?
And you're like, she's what?
She's 16.
Right.
Like, they get married. Right?
And he was in his 30s, right?
And he was 28, I think. Okay. I want to say. Like, later 20s, I want to. Significantly older. And
guys,
old
fact check.
enough to know better.
Fact check, Gus.
Yes.
That means you're paying attention and listening. Mm-hmm. So if you're like, y'all got the dates wrong, y'all got the names wrong, just throw it in the comments.
Correct me.
Right.
Because Fallon knows I love being corrected. Said nobody. I do like to be corrected. Because I don't want to sound ignorant.
Right. And it's learning more. It's a learning experience.
And I'm here for the learning. So, yeah, when the news first broke that they had married, this was back at a time where we didn't have access to the internet. We couldn't check these things ourselves. We had to rely on the people who were reporting the stories.
Right.
So we had to rely on those sources, right? But then it was kind of odd to me how she just broke from him after that first album.
Right.
And moved over to Timbaland and Missy Elliott. So I always kind of felt like there was some credence to that. But then, in 2002-ish, when the news broke about the videotape with him and the 14-year-old girl.
Oh.
And that was around the time the internet really began to sort of percolate and come up. And there was this grainy video you could possibly see, but you weren't quite sure. Even then, I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to his music because his music is amazing. And he's a talented man. Mm-hmm. He can write for other artists and, he's a great vocalist himself. So it was kind of iffy for a minute. When Surviving R. Kelly broke,
oh my goodness,
later, I had a really hard time watching it.
Mm-hmm. See.
But then when you hear the stories and you see the victims and you put faces to names and accusations, and now it's like, well, damn.
Right.
And now I'm like, all right, well, I can't listen to Aaliyah's early stuff because I'm skeeved. And I can't listen to any of his stuff because I'm skeeved. But damn, it's still good.
Right.
And then it's like, do I no longer listen to Whitney and Michael Jackson and Celine Dion and all of these other artists he wrote incredible music for? Who suffers?
My stance, my personal opinion is that I do not give more money to it. Anything I have and purchased, I still consume. Because it is now in my space. But you're not getting any more money from me.
Gotcha. So from this point on. But everything pre that.
Yes.
Okay. That's not a bad stance to have.
If I have it, I have it.
But then what happens when, like, Bill Cosby comes up? What do you do then? Do you no longer watch The Cosby Show? Do you no longer...
I don't.
Do you no longer...
And that's sad for me. That's so sad for me.
And don't you believe that by taking that particular stance, all of the artists and actors that were the people behind the scenes, the crew of the Cosby Show in a different world, now they're financially affected by this.
And they're suffering.
And they're suffering. So for me, that's my conundrum. Because Cosby Show is still one of my favorite shows.
It's great.
A Different World is still, A Different World, girl, like, is part of the reason why I went to college to begin with. But then you look back 30 years later and you start seeing the uptake in numbers of admissions into HBCUs because of the influence that Cosby and A Different World made on a ton of people. He's done good things. He's given scholarships to people. He's allowed people who probably would not have gotten the opportunity to go to college to go to college. So it's like, again.
So that's the real conundrum is how much does the bad overtake the good?
Right.
And does the good ameliorate? Great word.
Yes, I love ameliorate. I learned that word when I was doing a different podcast. It was one of our first vocabulary words.
I love it.
Right.
Do we need one of those in the show? Our vocabulary word for today is ameliorate.
No. It sounds too much like my old one, and I shan't not.
That is another episode because I need details.
No, you don't.
Oh, damn it.
I'll tell you in one. Anyway, I'm saying you don't have to wait for an episode.
Great.
Because I will give you all of
I love it.
the deeds over a bottle of Pinot. But anywho, yes, does the good ameliorate the bad?
I think there's a, if you straight up murdered somebody, like, that's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. That probably can never ever be overlooked or be outweighed by any good, right?
I don't know. The problem is, now that I teach Sunday school and I'm learning about the Lord and like, what
would Jesus do?
I know there's an inherent goodness in people somewhere, and you got to hold on to that.
Is it?
Right.
Is it?
Right.
Like, maybe the overwhelming majority of people are innately good, good-meaning, good-natured. Good people do bad things all the time.
Right.
But bad people sometimes do good things too.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know what to do because I'm a fan. I was a super fan. Mm-hmm. And now I'm super disappointed. And like, I take it personal. I shouldn't.
No, you should take it personally.
But I take it personally, the hours that I've consumed watching these programs and the money I've spent supporting products. And
right. You should take it personally.
Yeah.
Because when you become out there as an artist and putting out big things, you're doing it for the fans. You're doing it for them. So when you disappoint them, you're going against everything you said you were going to do.
But then what happens when you run into someone like Michael Jordan who says he never signed up to be a role model? I didn't sign up to be a role model. I signed up to play basketball. It just so happens I'm phenomenal at it and people love me. But I never signed up to be a role model. Don't look up to me.
He's just a jerk. And they should listen to him. Don't look up to him.
Don't look up to me.
Because he's a bad tipper.
But he's still held responsible and trialed by public jury when he does things that are questionable.
Because there are the celebrities who take a back seat and chill, and you never hear about them because they live like normal ho-hum lives.
Right.
But if you want that status, like you want your name to be on jerseys, you want your name to be on sneakers, then you've put yourself out there, and you no longer have the option because you're deciding my name is going to be out there. You put yourself in that position.
So now you are
right.
You are a product.
Right.
Your name.
Yes.
It's a product. True story. Where do you stand on people like Harvey Weinstein?
What?
Stand on him, right?
I'll stand on his neck. That's where I'll stand. My foot is on his neck.
It's funny.
And then I'm going to circle back to the Bill Cosby thing. Because I have a question about that.
All right, write that down so we don't forget.
Okay.
Thankfully, in my obliviousness, I don't know. Like, I can't, off the top of my head, think of an intellectual property that he had his hand in. I mean, he had his hand in all the things. And so I don't have anything to separate.
Right.
All I have is the situation as it was presented immediately.
Mm-hmm.
He was a producer. He did all this gross stuff, and now he's in jail.
Right.
So I don't have that. I don't have the mental work, the emotional work to separate him from anything because I never attached him to anything.
Okay.
And I never did the work.
Right.
So that's me just being lazy.
Okay.
Now, so is it my job now that he's done these horrible things and been convicted to go back to do the research?
Right.
Or can I just live in my oblivion?
Ignorance is bliss.
Ignorance is bliss. But am I culpable now?
Well, I don't see, and that's the thing. I don't think in that particular instance we're culpable for supporting movies that the Weinstein Company has produced. Because all in all, those actresses and actors who have been affected by the Me Too movement,
Right,
and Time's Up, their emotional damage is not something that I think is on us. I think as consumers, we still pay to consume their product. We still pay to go to the movies. They still collect a paycheck.
right,
Not having the knowledge of what was going on BTS.
right.
We didn't know any of that stuff.
So why doesn't that apply to the Cosby Show?
Right. But it does. It doesn't apply to the Cosby Show. Well, see, for me it doesn't because
Okay.
I still watch. I still watch the Cosby Show. I still watch A Different World. I still buy Hillman product. I just bought a Hillman sweatshirt like a month ago.
Huh.
I still buy those things because I don't, and this is me being lazy, I don't know whether or not he's still affiliated financially. Does any of that go into his pockets? I don't believe it does.
Right.
I think at this point people have already cut ties.
Yeah. They took his face off of the side of Ben's Chili Bowl in D.C. And his mural had been up there for forever.
Ever and ever.
Forever.
Right.
I remember when I went, I was like, ooh, they took his face off.
Girl, bye.
I'm still getting my chili dog.
That part right there. OJ. Now, this is such a divisive topic because my mom and I went back and forth. When OJ died, when I said to her, oh my God.
Fallon must be on vacation because OJ died.
Because OJ died. Every time Fallon goes away, somebody kicks the bucket. So when I said to her, I said, oh my God, I just read on Facebook that OJ died. And she was like, they killed him.
Oh.
Her immediate response was, they killed him.
But why did they kill him now? They could have killed him a long time ago.
Who's the they?
I don't know.
Who is the they? Shirley. That's what I want.
It could be the NFL. It could be white people in
it's
general.
It's the white people. I'm convinced. That's the white people having hell for OJ. I said, Mom, there were black people who thought OJ was guilty too. No, it wasn't.
Yes, Mom.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
My honest opinion, they can't see you raise your hand.
Raise your hand.
He has something to do with it. He didn't do it himself.
His son did it. I'm convinced.
He didn't do it himself.
I'm convinced his son did it, and he was trying to cover up for his son. So technically, he didn't do it. But.
I think he hired somebody.
You think he hired somebody? Mm-hmm. What do you think the motive for hiring somebody would be?
What do you mean?
Think like he hated his ex-wife that badly that he just wanted to unalive her?
Yeah, he probably hated Kato Kaelin. So
do you think Kato Kaelin was the real target?
Oh yeah,
and not Ron Goldman?
Ron, I don't know. I don't know anything about Ron, but I just
think he had the really unlucky luck of
to
being
be there
in the wrong place.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Yes.
And that, I mean, it breaks my heart just that two people were taken.
I saw the house. And like, how do you live in that house? Like, someone lives there now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I went.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Ew.
I went there quite a few years ago now. But
I should have gone when I was in LA. But wait, they weren't in LA, were they? It was
close to Santa Monica.
Brentwood. Oh, is that in LA? I don't know about LA.
Me neither.
Hollywood's there.
I was there for work, and the coworker, she's like, "Let me show you around." And she's like, "And this is where it happened." I was like, "Oh snap!"
Ooh. Ew.
Right, and like to see the stairs that all you saw on like pictures.
Yes.
As bloody.
Yes, the bloody stairs and the sheet on the
Oh.
Okay, so where do you stand on OJ now? Like,
I didn't stand anywhere on him to begin with.
How old were you in '94?
12? No.
Okay.
Yeah, 12.
You were 12.
I was 12.
So you probably... Do you remember when the verdict was read?
Yes, but let's rewind before we get to the verdict. All I knew about O.J. Simpson is that he played football, and I wasn't watching football back then, really. And that he was in the
Hertz commercial, the Naked Gun movies,
and Naked Gun. That's it. That's all I had.
Okay.
So I had no real attachment to him. I was in Catholic school. I remember I was at home when the Bronco chase happened.
Because that was in the summer.
Yes.
We were all home for that.
I was all home watching.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck is happening?
Right.
And then remember in Shrek when they had the Bronco chase? I was in the movie theater dying. I was like, this is brilliant. Like, kudos to you, DreamWorks. So then, when the verdict happened, we watched it in school.
Did you really?
I went to a Catholic school. And what were we doing watching the OJ verdict?
Girl. Do you remember where you were when the OJ verdict was read?
6th grade?
No.
You don't remember where you were?
No.
I had just gotten out of class. I was in college in the city, and I had just gotten out of class, and I ran up to my girlfriend's room to where I was bunking, where I was squatting.
I can't.
And that's a story for another episode. But they announced it live, but I remember seeing footage from Times Square, which was only at that point maybe 18 blocks from me, and
They're just people standing in the street.
and people were just littering the street, looking at this jumbotron, waiting for this verdict to be read. And when they read it, like
half the people were like, "Woo!" The other people were like,
"What the?"
Yeah.
And the other half was like, "Yeah, OJ got off," and it was like, "Oh my god."
But the husband and I were talking about this recently, and that was like the first time I realized that the court system, it's all about the show. It's really all about the show and who tells a better story.
Especially when it's being televised.
Right.
They say it's not for entertainment purposes, but it's
But it is.
But
A
is
little bit.
it? Yeah, and then you get into the other performers. Chris Brown.
Didn't like him to begin with, so it doesn't mean
I
nothing to
did.
me.
I loved Chris Brown. When he first
His
came
face
out.
pisses me off.
Oh, not the face pissing. See, that's how I feel about Kevin Spacey's face.
Oh man, what was
Never
that
liked
movie?
Kevin Spacey's
What was
face.
that movie?
Loved him as an actor though, but not to watch.
Was it This Christmas with Chris Brown?
Yes.
Oh.
And Idris Elba and Columbus
for
Short.
some reason that popped up recently that I watched, and I had never really watched before, and I'm like, look at this sorry performance he's given. Turn the whole movie off. So Chris
Throw
Brown,
the whole movie away. Throw it all out.
throw it all out. So no Chris Brown for me. So
No Chris
that's my
Brown for
loss.
you. I was a huge Chris Brown fan until the whole Rihanna thing.
Yeah.
And then not so much. But then she turned around and she got back together with him.
Like, what are you doing?
And it's like
we
okay, so,
stood behind you.
Girl, we were rooting for you.
Right.
To quote Tyra Banks. We were all rooting for you. And now here you are courtside.
Right.
At a Lakers game or Knicks game, wherever they were.
Right.
Girl,
Don't involve me.
See, that's what I mean when I say I mind my business. This is why I still we're here and I mind my business.
Right.
And how do we feel about Kevin Spacey? He was found not guilty, right?
I don't even know.
I want to say he was.
I don't feel like I was the biggest Kevin Spacey fan to begin with.
And how do we feel about Anthony Rapp coming out 20 years later with the accusation?
Oh.
Do you know the story?
No. Please.
Actor Anthony Rapp
Mm-hmm.
accused Kevin Spacey of inappropriate behavior when they worked on a project together.
Right.
A decent exposure, something like that. Sexual harassment.
I am
Can
not.
I say sexual harassment? I just said it again. Oh my god, sexual
That's
harassment. Stop it! Anyway.
It is not. The time period does not matter to me because sometimes you need that first person to say something in order to feel comfortable that it wasn't just you and that you have someone to back you up. So the years that passed didn't matter to me.
Don't matter to you.
Nope.
No statute of limitations for
Nope.
you. Speaking of, Michael Jackson.
Hot effing mess. Can I say effing? Bleep that.
You can say effing,
I can.
but you can't say.
I'm like, just let me know if I have to hit the explicit.
What you can't say is ducking. But begin with the letter F. Hot effing mess. Where do you stand on that? I'm curious. Did Michael do it? Did Michael do any of it?
I don't know. I feel like all the stories were so weird. But everything about Michael was
It's weird. Yeah.
So And you don't want to get into the circle of like victim blaming.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to question the parents' motives.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much going on there. And you don't want to downplay any actions that may or may not have happened because of his upbringing and where he came from.
Right.
But I'm still consuming all the Michael stuff I possibly can. We had tickets to go see his new tour in London when he died. Like, that is someone, especially.
Money back?
Yes.
Okay, I was curious.
As
you were. I was just curious.
Especially since there were no big declarations of guilt in that sense. I was just like...
Well, Michael's always maintained his innocence.
Right.
He's agreed that perhaps settling was not the best, but he really just wanted it to all go away. So, do you think that made him vulnerable?
Yes.
To being...
Yes.
Yeah.
It did. And I get it. Like, you don't even want to deal with it, but you got to think of... It's all about optics.
Did he?
I didn't like him to begin with.
That part right there! Oh my God!
He just like in the background. Like, what are you doing?
Can we just talk about the very first time I have ever seen him in person?
You saw him in person, and it's
nausea.
Right, and I felt that over
right, and this was before he was even anybody. Right. Like, I think he had already produced What's the 411 from Mary J. Blige at that point. But I used to be really good friends with someone who, remember in a previous episode I said my girlfriend whose wedding I didn't go to, she disowned me. She was, she worked for him.
Okay.
And she had gotten me a ticket to the premiere of Waiting to Exhale. Because she knew I was a huge Terry McMillan fan, Whitney Houston, Angela Bassett, the whole thing. And he was there. And that was the first time that I'd met him in person. And just from, I was like, ooh, watch that one. And she was like, why do you say that? Just watch it.
Right.
Something about
felt
that.
it in your spirit.
Something about that milking fresh.
Right.
Watch that one. I felt it on a visceral level.
Right.
I felt it. And then you see, just as the years go by, like all the questionable things that happen in his presence, and then making of the band, and the way he was treating those contestants, and how people come out on the label and they have this great success with their first album, and then they kind of fall off, and then years later they're talking about how they're broke and how the money was misappropriated, and I just never liked him.
Right.
Amen.
Amen.
Hallelujah. Yeah. Okay, so what have we concluded? Can we separate the art? You've said that.
I've done it.
Okay, you've done it. You've grandfathered in
certain things,
and then certain things going forward. You just
you can't, and it's respectable. You know, I think it's up to everyone to make their personal choice.
Yeah. Now, I asked you about a couple of people, and you either had no feeling about it, or before the scandal even broke, you didn't particularly care for them. Were there any where a scandal broke and you were like, no, not you? Has there been anyone in recent years?
I can't think of anyone. I guess JK would be like...
Oh, that's the closest.
That's the closest. Okay. Like, really? Did you have to mess up my flow?
Just tainted everything I ever felt about Harry and the other two.
Right.
I'm curious. How do y'all feel about that out there? Can you separate the artist from the art? And what does that look like to you?
Right.
So,
let us know.
Let us know. Speaking of, not speaking of, this is a terrible segue. What are you watching?
You should let me do the segue.
I should let you do the segue.
You do the opening, you do the closing. Okay. I do all segues.
All right. Know my role, play my part. Okay. So we're gonna take it back. Can you separate the artist from the art? You let us know.
So, you're talking about separating the art from the artist, and, do you still watch the shows? What do you watch now?
Oh, okay. See, that's how it's done. Mic drop. What am I watching? I'm just trying to catch up now. I'm just doing my regular TV watching. Station 19, Grey's Anatomy.
What is...
Chicago
Station
Fire.
That's one of those fire...
Yeah. Hey.
That's all you.
Hey.
What is that on? Station 19?
It's on ABC, or you can watch it on Hulu the next day.
Okay.
Streams. Thank you.
I love it. I never got into the fire shows.
Well, my cousin is a firefighter.
I've got family who are fighter.
And they're all really very pretty to look at.
Right. I feel that.
But also, they do a really noble job, so.
I totally understand that.
Yeah, no. That's why I watch. I watch because I am a fire bunny. I'm not. I watch.
It's better than I am a fire starter. Whatever.
We didn't start the fire. Thank you. Thank you very much. How many songs can you name with the word fire in it?
I can't.
Real quick.
Oh my gosh. Ring of Fire.
Oh, yes.
I'm on fire.
Bruce Fire.
Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
Hey, little girl, is your daddy home?
Oh, there we go. Yes. Ooh, I'm on fire. There we go. Okay.
We're the
Yeah.
worst.
I was just curious.
I'm not watching anything.
No? Are you reading?
Oh.
What are you reading?
Oh, no. It got me.
What got you?
I don't know if we talked about this before. There's this very beautiful redheaded man on Instagram that popped into my feed because the algorithm. And my phone's over there.
Oh, okay. As soon as we break, I want to see.
And he started talking about being a book boyfriend. And
I love a book boyfriend.
he was like,
I feel like we did kind of touch on this.
Yeah, and he talked about like Sarah J. Maas, like he was like calling her out for like setting unrealistic standards. So like,
is she an author?
Yes.
Okay.
He's like, let me start. And they're fairies, and usually I'm not into like fairies.
Yes, we did, because I was like, oh yes, the Fae, and you were like, yeah.
I'm on book 5.
Come on, book 5. Are you reading or are you listening?
I'm listening.
Oh, okay.
But also, I'm supposed to be learning my music for my show, and
yes. And when does that go up?
oh my gosh, in the middle of May.
And what show is this again?
Violet.
Oh, yay! And where is that?
That is at Stageworks in Pompton Lakes.
Okay.
And I am Almeida, Lula Buffington, and bus passenger. I'm living my best life.
Living the best life.
I get to sing gospel, and I don't often get to sing gospel.
Ooh.
So it's going to be very exciting.
Fun.
Right.
Okay.
I say often, I never get to sing gospel.
Well, now you do.
No, I do.
Can't wait to see it.
It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait to see it. Congrats.
Thank
Good
you.
for
Thank you.
All right. Well, that's what we're doing, people. We want to hear from you. We really do want to hear from you. So please.
Yes, please, talk to us.
Talk to us. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at No Roadmap Pod.
Mm-hmm.
And also on Threads.
Yep.
Same
Yep.
tag.
And YouTube?
And the YouTubes.
We're on YouTube.
We're on the YouTubes.
And if anyone's on Lemonade, which I don't think anybody is, we're there floating around.
Lemonade.
Lemonade.
That cool, refreshing drink. All right. Well, until we get together again, I'm Tasha.
I'm Fallon.
Thanks for joining us here at No Roadmap. And remember, don't be a jerk. Thank you for listening to No Roadmap with Tasha and Fallon. Follow us on IG at No Roadmap Pod. Send us your questions, ideas, and reactions. Tell us all the things because we're going to tell you all the things. Until next time, bye.